Okay, we are live. So, hello everyone out there in the world of Facebook Live. So, I am Marcia Sivek and I am the secretary of the Santa Clara County branch of the National League of American Pen Women. And I am also a host of a podcast, which you may have seen, called Be Provided Conservation Radio. So I am also just switching hats today. I'm wearing my other hat as the secretary of the Pen Women here in Santa Clara County. I'm proud to host this panel today of amazing women and authors. We may be having some technical difficulty with one of the authors, so we may only have two today instead of three. But we'll be talking about their books. But to give you a brief background about the National League of American Pen Women, I wanted to let you know it was founded in 1897 when women journalists were not permitted to join male-only professional organizations. The League became a professional organization for women writers, artists, and composers where they could be recognized for their talents. So we are proud members of the Santa Clara County branch, and we're building on the groundbreaking work of wonderful women and journalists, artists, and educators like Eleanor Roosevelt, Edith Daly, Marianne Adele Longfellow, Judy Bingman, and Nancy Bloomer Dewson, and many, many more. Our goal is to raise money for scholarship grants that will be awarded to young women graduating from high school, undergraduate women in college, and women returning to school to pursue a career in the arts. Even though we cannot hold our annual fundraising luncheon due to the pandemic, our work continues for fundraising. If you'd like to find out more or donate to our cause, please visit our website at www.nlapwsantaclara.org. And I will also put this in the comments as well. So if you have any comments and questions after each author or each guest, I will try to relay the questions and comments to them after each person has done their reading. And hopefully, if we miss your questions and comments, the authors will hopefully respond afterwards. So I thought I'd show a picture of us here today. So today I have Barbara Chamberlain. She is down below my picture if you can see me. So you can wave hi, Barbara. And then I have Dorothy Atkins to the right of Barbara, and she is also our outreach coordinator for the National League of American Pen Women. So I'm going to start with you, Dorothy, today, if that is okay. So unfortunately, we cannot, I'm going to just switch it to the three of us because I'm not sure if we can get Ariel on. She's having some technical difficulties today. So anyways, I want to let Dorothy, I'll let you introduce yourself and I will show a copy of your book. So Dorothy's going to be talking about her recently published book called Heady Scent of Lilac, a collection of poetry and art. So Dorothy's also she's not only a writer, but she's also a wonderful artist as well. So there you go. Take it away, Dorothy.
Thank you so much for Marcia for inviting me today. I'm having some technical problems, so I'm on my telephone trying to hold the book and talk about it at the same time. But I just wanted to say that I'm an artist, as you said, and also a writer. I've been a closet writer for a number of years, but I finally showed my face, and I'm now loving it. I commuted to San Francisco for about 25 years on the BART train, and so I used that time to tap into my writing and drawing. And I discovered that there's just a fine line between what inspires me to paint and what inspires me to put words on the paper. My collection comes from a story of people who left an impression on my life and my journey. So this is a perfect journey that allows all of us to ignite our dreams and brings magic into our lives. I've always been a romantic person, very, very romantic, married a romantic man. So this was just a perfect fit for me. Deep down in my heart and my soul, I've always felt love and romance so completely. And I wanted to write about it. When I was commuting on the train, I actually watched my hair turn gray. And people started treating me differently. They would say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, thank you, ma'am. Before it was just hello, hello. And I started to wonder what makes people think that because your hair has turned gray, that you no longer have romance and love in your life. So I started writing about it about 20 years ago. And I started painting based on the things that I'd see while I was on the train. And that's how I ended up with this book of poetry, romantic poetry, rather sensuous, but classy. And my poetry is pretty much like my life. It's a painting, but more on an intimate scale. I wanted to read just a review quickly about what was said about my book. It says in Dorothy's new book about the sensual memories of a mature woman, which have always been hinted at in her paintings, come alive in her poems. Her wisdom and experience of life are reflected in both of these mediums. Thanks to Dorothy, she leaves us, the readers, with a rich legacy, an understanding of how a mature woman feels about the sensual sides of their life. So I'm going to read several of my poems, and as I said, they're based on my feelings over the years, and I wanted to share them with the rest of the world.
Great.
I'm using my my cell phone, so I have one hand free and one on while I book. So please bear with me.
Thank you
My
for.
first one, my first one is Journey with Me. Beckon to my fanciful kaleidoscope. I am bedraggled, bursting and succulent. O cylinder of my heartbeats, moan through the sultry sound of a chantros, deepened by your stillness. In my past life, I took many lovers, laid back and drank the grace notes of music made, held spellbound in my passing fancy, met by a touch of hand, undo my passion rage, love so many and love them all. In this life, so lives the memories. My next poem, launched by spirits of centuries' rest, awakened in the depth of stillness, quiet and calm stop the passage inside a restless storm. Savor the forbidden moments held captive in a distant sound, realizations flooding heartbeats, overwhelming enraptured longing, sated with impetuous fullness, unleash my desirous passion, my faraway captive keeper. Resounding spent desires aroused another time, remembered in the moment, undo a secret place, beckon to my lover, feelings of smoldering drifts, release my passive stirrings, touch my molten moments, electrify my senses. Yesterday, a lover paused in restless pride, undo my realm of senses, admission to desires, held captive by a fancy burst of platitude. Faraway lover, held, heightened my desire, tasted the joy of nectar, relinquished by submission. Many revolutions still my heart, aches with burning desire. You are every hour my new love. Dance away, lover, eyes meet. I see in you all my pleasures, renewed by each breath. Trappings evolved with passing of time. Within my soul and spirit, I am motionless. Envy, our first quiver, arouse me still. Presence unassuming, marquee of proper trappings, coping for safekeeping, wakeful excitement, quiet in magnitude, held by lava stream, burst upon my rapture, dormant rocks to smoldering, my whole being filled with love. Bear with me, I'm working with this one arm.
Thank you for your patience with the technical issues.
called called my strong love, called my pure love, called my only love, called my eternal love, called my best love, called my undaunted love, called my shameless love, called my real love, called my raw love, called my forever love. Soul of my primrose, touched by your seed, intrigued by my own touch, warmed through my soul, innocent to daydream, beckoned by your word, command your heart to hasten, but signal to retreat. Hark to your true love, hark to your true love. With each moment, you bring renewal, images of your influence, catch a glimpse, love below my surface, passion abounds, imbue with magic, faraway keeper. Exquisite enchantment, verboten in name, lurid sensations cloaked in delicacy, undo my cloistered image, murmur within my heartbeats, moan by my side, forbidden lover, intoxicate my daydreams, for I am delirious with desire, overcome by longing, enraptured with wanting, runneth over with fancy. Vintage lovers, remembrances of flavors past, magic potion, bold, risky, and discreet, embodiment of who I am, defined by how I feel, stroke away my pretense, languish between my intoxicating aroma, strip me of all proprieties, tarnish who I am, and fill me with your memory. Call me Delilah.
I love it.
Thank you so much. And my book is available on Amazon.com just in time for Valentine's Day. It's a great read. I've had men to buy it who've enjoyed it. They've given it to their wives for presents. I still read it to my husband, who is my romantic husband, and we have wine, candlelights, and we read it to
Oh.
Jazz. So thank you very much.
I love that. Well, thank you. So please, yeah, take a look for this book. And you also have artwork in your book, correct, Dorothy?
I do. I
Can
do.
can can you
Uh,
show is it difficult with your
Let me try
with one hand? Yeah.
with my one hand. Let's see.
I know, sorry. I know the artwork is beautiful in this book too. So I love your style. Uh
Thank you. This is
yeah.
one. Let me see if I can show you some more with my other hand here free. Um, if you buy the book, you certainly will be able to see the artwork.
Not jiggling with one hand as we Yeah, I love that. That's beautiful. Yeah.
And
So
as it turned out, I painted first over the years. And when I started to write my poetry, it's almost as if I painted for each poem because they all seem to fit.
yeah.
They all seem to fit with all of the poetry. So it was just, I was on the right track all along, to write about romance, to um, capture it on paper, to capture it with my paintbrush. And I still do that to this day. I always carry,
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
I always carry a notebook and my 64 Crayola crayons in my backpack. So you never know when the inspiration will get you,
Yeah,
and when you find something that just you want to capture.
that's gorgeous.
So I don't know how well that's holding up. I'm rather crooked
We're
here.
getting an idea.
Okay. So you can
Yeah,
see it somewhat.
yeah,
And here's
yeah.
one more. Yes. So uh, this is part of what makes this not just, a lot of people just don't want to read poetry, but
Hmm.
they also enjoy the art. So it's fun.
Yeah, yeah. I like that. And you've been really prolific with your artwork too during the pandemic. So you posted a lot on Facebook where people could see some of your work as well, right? They can
I did.
find you on Facebook.
I started, you can find me on Facebook. I started a new series of paintings called One Love.
Hmm.
And it's my interpretation of my feeling about the world, trying to have one love,
Hmm.
and the random acts of kindness kind of thing uh, was part of that. I'm an emotional painter, so I paint what I feel. And at the time, this is what I'm doing, a One Love series. And actually, I'm having a one woman show in March, from March to May, with the Hayward Art Center. So it'll be
Oh,
live, or not live, but it'll be virtual. And it'll
great.
show my collection of One Love paintings. So I'm really excited about that. So tune in
Congratulations.
for more information. Thank you so much.
Yeah, good. Well, that's good to hear. And if we have time after you're done, if you want to talk about your role with the Pen Women, I'll have both you and Barbara after the readings. If you want to talk a
Sounds
little,
good.
yeah, to kind of promote what we're doing here with Pen Women. So,
I would
um,
love that.
okay. Well, great. Thank you. And remember, it's all you have time before Valentine's Day now to get this book. So I hope
Absolutely.
everybody's going to Amazon right now. Or well, wait till after
Absolutely.
Barbara's done. Yeah.
Sounds
So
good. And sorry for all the interruptions. I tell you, trying to get on was quite a trick. My computer wasn't happy today, and so I'm trying to do it from my cell phone. So I hope you're all able to see it well.
yeah, and this is I'm going to add Barbara in here too. So there's Barbara. Yeah, and this is a different technology that most people aren't used to. I do use this for my podcast. So yeah, so thank you for your patience and willingness to try this new technology with me.
No problem.
So we could try the Facebook Live venue. So
And thank you again, Marcia, for doing this. I appreciate it.
you're welcome. Yeah, I always enjoy talking to you guys and hearing what's going on. So I'm going to introduce Barbara Chamberlain now. So I'll put her a little bit bigger in the screen here. So this is Barbara, and she's going to be talking about her book called The Flight of Alpha One. So Barbara's written many books too, but she can tell you about that. And I'll let her give a little background about herself, and you can take it away. Yeah, thanks, Barbara.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Dorothy, and thank you, Marcia, for arranging this. It's
Yeah.
pretty much of a first for me, but really started to write when I was probably remember in the fifth grade. I just, for some reason, I loved the library at school, and the school library at that time was open all the time. So I would get books from the library and read them, and I'm sure that's what started me writing the stories. And in the sixth grade, I started a school newspaper, and the principal was really following what I was doing. So I guess I wouldn't write anything strange or odd in the newspaper. Uh, every, a lot of things always turn into stories. And my first book was genealogical background for my ancestors were Quakers who came to America. And I was reading their story and I thought it was absolutely fascinating. So I fictionalized it. And those were the first books I ever had published The Prisoner's Sword and Ride the West Wind. They were stories of Quakers coming to America and based on our family background. And now they're all over the country and they're all different religions. But it was a fascinating story what they went through just to get to a new world where they could worship as they wanted, which was not true in a lot of places in the world, and especially where they came from. You were only a member of one church and that was it. Everything else, you couldn't keep your property, you couldn't vote, you couldn't do all kinds of things. And William Penn tried his best to change that. He tried articles of what he called acts of toleration, but they never would pass Parliament. So what they finally decided was that they would come to America and start their own place where they could have freedom of religion. And then after that, I just kept writing short stories, a lot of which were published. And then the stories that I was writing, I was really started seriously when I joined the Penn Women. They had a writer's workshop. So every month we would go to the writer's workshop. And I was so thrilled because I found other people like me who wrote stories. And up to that time, you kind of feel isolated, thinking that, well, why does everything in my mind turn into a story? And a lot of other people aren't like that. But then I found the women who were there and very encouraging to whatever you were doing. And so that's when a lot of my books really started. And the women would really help me with mistakes that I made in the story or things that would sound better or things that didn't sound right. And it was very encouraging for me. I love that writer's workshop. And this story probably started in the writer's workshop, but it took a long time to get it out. I've published mysteries that take place in the Monterey Bay Area. They're called the Jaden Steele Carmel Mysteries. And this book are all available on Amazon. So the story that I'm working on right now, it's almost published, and it's one of the Jaden Steele mysteries, and it's called The Edge of Carmel. And Jaden Steele is the heroine in the story. It's a women's sleuth. If you look under that title, eventually you'll see The Edge of Carmel coming out. It's been a long time coming, but
Exciting.
this book is a book that won a couple of awards. It's The Flight of Alpha One, and it's a children's fantasy. And I'd like to just sort of read the beginning or tell you about the beginning because I don't think we have time for the whole book today. But here is The Flight of Alpha One. Breathing as silently as possible, Reed Adams moved through the tall brown pussy willows that lined the small creek in back of the school. Sun sparkled on the gold flecks on the fat caterpillars' bodies. He squinted because the bright flashes as they writhed and wriggled through the willows. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. He thought he counted a dozen, but he might have counted some twice because they moved with snake-like speed through the brush. At first he thought they were some kind of snakes. But 2 days earlier he'd spotted them because the sunlight gleamed on those unusual gold spots, and underneath them was a wide purple stripe that ran down the length of their body. When he examined the hot dog-sized creatures more closely, he decided they were caterpillars. I've got to catch one, you won't believe it, he told his classmate, Dawn Martin. She was waiting for him right now by the edge of the parking lot in back of the school. So he held his breath. One of the what he now called fatapillars was munching away. The creatures were just stripping all the weeds to sticks. Reed slipped off his shoes and moved forward, holding a gallon jar out and the lid in the other hand. He was swooping down on the creature when, to his astonishment, another one of them plopped in front and plopped down to the bottom of the jar. Reed stared. It must be his imagination, because he thought that caterpillar was staring, or rather glaring, back at him. Well, it was such a distraction that the teacher decided that they couldn't keep that thing in class anymore because it was so unusual. Nobody wanted to do any classwork. So she asked him to take the jar to the library, and Mrs. Stewart would keep it until the end of school, and then Reed could pick it up. So he did that. But when he went back at the end of school, the library door wouldn't open. And he thought, oh no, I didn't come in time, and Mrs. Stewart's left, and it's the weekend, and what am I going to do? But then he kept hearing these noises, thump, 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 and then crash, 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 and he didn't know what was going on, but he decided that something was in the library. Mrs. Stewart he called, but that didn't work, so all the windows were covered with silvery window sunlight reflecting film, but there was a little crack in one, so he leaned up as high as he could and looked in, and he saw just a bunch of gold flashes in the library, and he thought he saw way over on the other side of the counter the outline of Mrs. Stewart. Well, just then Dawn came. Dawn, boost me up. I got to get in the library. That window has a slight crack open. So she helped him up. He tensed his stomach muscles and he flopped on the wooden floor and wished his breath away. So he got up gasping, and Reed pulled himself up on his knees. Gold flecks flashed all around him, and he thought maybe he'd hit his head. Well, he stared through the sparkling fog. He blinked. His mouth dropped open. A butterfly, the size of a pony, clung to the shelf that used to hold the World Book Encyclopedia. Those and hundreds of other books littered the floor. The loud thud was his wings hitting the shelves. Suddenly, Mrs. Stewart cried out, Reed, get away, go for help. Don went, I'm coming. He pressed his body against the bookshelf, and he was opposite the whatever it was. It must be how you feel in a lion's cage, he thought. He carefully tiptoed between the chaos of books and overturned chairs to the counter. The butterfly's eyes rolled in their huge sockets, following his every movement. He's watching me. His hands tightened on the edge of the counter. The butterfly had green and gold wings and a shiny purple stripe that ran down the length of his body. This butterfly was his caterpillar. He finally reached Mrs. Stewart. She stared at him. Her voice trembled and she started to say, Your butterfly, what happened? Well, I was backing up the day's circulation on the computer when I heard glass break. And I thought someone had thrown a rock at the window, but no, your jar was been on the counter, and you know what, Reed? It had turned into a pupa. And the jar had vanished. I thought I deliberately put it too close to the edge or something. She cleared her throat. That pupa was swelling and growing like a balloon. It started to roll around, and I stood there in shock, watching it swell and grow. And it rolled and stopped and trembled, and the room rocked like an earthquake. Part of the outside of the pupa peeled back, and these green hairy things poked out. I couldn't move. I still barely can. Then the head followed. Reed, look at that creature's face. He bit down on his lower lip. Reed blinked. The butterfly blinked back. He's got human-like eyes. Human-like eyes and a mouth like ours. Reed braced himself against the counter. Boy. He came down from the shelf. The butterfly started to lick his hairy legs like a cat. Reed choked out, He's got a regular tongue too, and I hope he's not a meat eater. It's a whole new species. He sounded like a librarian again, but what? Well, let's get out of here, Reed said. Okay, we'll try, but if we can't escape, someone's bound to come looking for us. But you know, today's Saturday. Reed, Mrs. Stewart, was Dawn's voice. The top of her head showed first, and how did she get up so high to climb in the window? Stop, Reed croaked out. Dawn gasped, What is that? But instead of running away, she walked toward the butterfly. She reached out her hand to pet the top of the butterfly's silky green head. A contented hum came from the butterfly. The lime green feelers curled and curled and uncurled and curled. "You're beautiful," said Dawn. "You won't hurt us, will you?" She turned away from the butterfly, and she didn't realize that the thing began to follow her like a puppy. Mrs. Stewart whispered, Dawn, is help coming?" Dawn shook her head. "The office was closed, and I waited for my mother, but she never came, and everyone's gone except Paul and his friends, and I heard him laughing about scaring you by riding their bikes at you when you came out of the library. So I ran around, grabbed the garbage can, turned it over, and climbed up. Can we phone?" "It's only a speakerphone to the office," Mrs. Stewart explained, "and my cell phone needs recharging." "Let's get out of here," Reed said again. Together they dragged the heavy oak library table away from the door. The butterfly stayed still, head cocked to one side. Mrs. Stewart turned the doorknob. "And when I get out of here, I'm going to give those boys outside a piece of my mind." "How wilt thee do that?" Mrs. Stewart grabbed the counter. Dawn grabbed Reed. The question came from the butterfly. And here he is, one of these marvelous illustrations by Tom Powell. Let's see. Have I got it up where you can see him?
Yeah, it's a little blurry. Yeah, but we can get an idea. Yeah.
I've got to get a bigger picture, but the butterfly is from another planet, believe it or not. And this got rave reviews from one reviewer who said, I don't know what the creature was, but there's what's not to like about this book. You have to appreciate fantasy to appreciate the flight of Alpha One.
Exactly.
And so, and it's available on Amazon, and it's for children from age 9 up to 86 or whatever.
I was gonna say it's my kind of reading. Yeah.
Yeah,
if you want some reading, and reading is escapism a lot of times, and not that it's bad or anything, it's fun. It's really fun, and you think of all the stories you enjoyed as children. They were very pleasant, fun stories, and I thoroughly believe in nursery rhymes and myths and legends too. They're not always fun, but they've lasted for thousands of years, so there must be something to it. There's something to storytelling that is in our genes, and it really doesn't depend on, although we have to use it now, it doesn't depend on media. We have to remember that media is only about 100 years old. So it's storytelling lasted for thousands of years, and the storyteller in the village was the oral history keeper and everything. So reading to me was always a great thing to do. And of course, we had in my day only radio, no television, no internet, no nothing. I don't know how we survived, but somehow we did it.
That's great.
And I really enjoy writing. As I said, I started writing when I was fairly young.
That's wonderful. I'm really looking forward. I haven't read this book yet, and I'm looking forward to finding out what happens. So I love your writing. So thank you for sharing that. And your history is wonderful. I learned a lot about that. I didn't know today. Yeah. So we do have comments. Oh, go ahead. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I've been a member of Pen Women for, I don't know, God knows how long.
Yeah, a long time, huh? Yeah, I think I'm definitely the newest member here. Only a few years, I believe, going on 3 years actually. So, but I do have comments from some of our fellow pen women here. I can read them. Tina Jones says storyteller. It's Tina Jones Williams. Sorry, it says storytellers rock, and that's true. And Susan Zerwick is said Barbara. She's been waiting impatiently for her next Jade and Steel book. So it sounds like that's coming soon, and she can't
It's
wait.
on the verge.
And she said the butterfly book sounds fascinating. And yeah, Ariel is having trouble. So we're sorry, Ariel. We'll try to do another event soon. And Luana said that she has read your book, Barbara, and it's a fun read and loves it. And Patricia said she loved the butterfly image. And let's see, Susan loved Dorothy's book. And she was hoping your picture would be bigger, but I think that's because you're on the iPhone.
Yes, right.
And Patricia said, lovely reading, Dorothy. Thank you for sharing. And Tina Jones Williams said, that was a beautiful reading, Dorothy. So thank you. So we do have some of our fellow pen women on here. If anyone, if you have questions or more comments, please just let us know. Oh, Luana says 46 years Barbara has been a member.
Well, thank
Wow,
you.
congratulations.
As you get old, your memory slides.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good amount of time. And Elvira said, Dorothy, she loves your book, or she likes your book. So
Thank you.
yeah. So I thought, since we have a little bit of time, if you two would like to do a little promotion for the Pen Women and how it's helped you, and I know it's helped me a great deal. So just getting myself out there, getting the confidence and the support is great. And I would love if we had a writing workshop again. That sounded wonderful, Barbara. That sounded like a great thing.
It was wonderful. We
But
had it until in the Lost Artist branch, which merged with the Santa Clara branch a long time ago. But up to then, we had the writers' workshop,
yeah,
and it is very helpful to have people encourage you and say, well, this book maybe should go there, or something that would give you a little forward thinking hope, instead of where people sometimes don't realize that if they make comments that aren't helpful, some people just withdraw from that. Maybe, well, maybe I'm no good. But I met lots and lots of really talented people in the writers' workshops and in other places. But I think I was the one of the few that just kept on writing, because it's very discouraging sometimes when you're trying to put yourself out there and you're not getting a good response from a publisher or something like that. It's easy just to give up and try other things, but I don't intend to do that. Some of you may have
good.
to finish one of my books, but but it's uh, it's it's there's a lot of stories there that aren't written yet, or there's people that think that they I do a lot with memoir writing, and people could even start with that journal writing. It's very important for your family. I feel so badly about relatives that have died that had wonderful stories,
Yeah.
and they should have been recorded, or you should record your life for your family or something, because there's at least one of your descendants that will be so happy to have read that book and know what your life was like. And I'm thinking of so many people that I knew that we didn't record or uh, write down, or they didn't write down their stories, and they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know what happened to them, or who belonged to this picture, or anything like that. So it's important for your family, if no one else.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good advice. I've done that when before my father passed away. I did some audio recordings, and I'm hoping to someday transcribe those into a story. So that's one of my goals. But how about you,
Great.
Dorothy? Yeah, thank you.
Well, I first of all, I want to give a shout out to the Pin Women and just encourage everyone that's online watching this to go to our www.NLAPW Santa Clara County.org and check out the Pin Women. We're a national group. We have branches here in Northern California, and in our branch, we have over 45 members, and we have a group of women that are amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing. You think of creativity, we have it all. And we're always looking for new members, and especially the younger women that are just starting out that need support in their careers with art or writing. It's a wonderful organization. Uh, we do fundraisers. Well, because of the lockdown, we've not been able to do that lately, but we have fundraisers where we raise money to give out scholarships to high school girls in the arts. And you know I'm on this phone, so I'm going to have to move away from my phone that's ringing like crazy. This
That's
this is
okay.
this has been a technical nightmare, let me tell you.
I'm
But
sorry.
I mean, not on your part, just on my equipment. But I can't say enough about Pin Women. They support one another. When you think about a group of women, you always wonder, how do they work so well together, and how do they do it? But we have an amazing group that we support you, whether you're an artist, a writer, whether you're in music. And if you want to have that kind of support, take a look at us. I can't say enough about us. We're having virtual shows now, so this is a way, if you want to show your work, come and see us. Let us support you. Let us give you encouragement in what you're trying to do. And like this today, Marcia decided to do this, and it's been a nice eye opener, a nice way to showcase our writers in our group, which we have lots of.
Yeah.
And we're of a generation that we need Marcia's age group and that generation to come in and provide us with all these wonderful technical things that we can do and show us more.
If we
You
could
know,
get it working, yeah.
yeah, when we get it working. Mine just went haywire today, so that kind of knocked me for a loop. But I'm
Yeah.
back. Um, I just want to add on to something that Barbara has said about telling your story. It's so important that we all tell our story to preserve our history. And it's a great way to do it while we're locked in and locked up. We can all start jotting down things, find a talent that you didn't know you had. And if you're a professional in the arts, or writers or musicians or performers, please take a look at our group. We're wonderful. We're just, we've got all different kind of personalities. We come with all different kind of talents, and we used to have a group of about 5 or 6 of us that would just tour the Bay Area whenever a Penn woman was doing something, whether they were having an art show or a reading. We would just show up for support. That's what we do. But now we're doing it in a different way. We're coming on live, and you're getting a chance to take a look at us and see what we do, and it's wonderful. And Marcia, we can't thank you enough. We're so happy for you to be our member, because you've
Thank you.
brought such a flavor to the Pin Women, and there's several others in our group
Thank
that
you.
do a fantastic job too. I'm not going to start shouting out names because I might miss someone, but all of them are fantastic.
Yeah.
And it might sound sappy what I'm saying about us being a good group, but it's not. We are a terrific group of women. Our headquarters are in Washington, D.C., in a beautiful old building, and we're just keeping it alive. We're keeping Pin Women alive. And I've known Barbara. Barbara and I are connected with the Northern California. She's our treasurer for the Northern California group, and I'm the president. And it seems, Barbara, that it's a lifelong appointment, because
I was
we've
going to
been
say that the
we've been
job
in,
is open if
we've
anybody's
been
dying to be
we've been at it for a while, so this might be our moment.
Yeah.
But uh,
Maybe we'll get a new treasurer.
I don't know, but just a shout out to all. Thank you all so much for being supportive of each other, and I really appreciate it. And I'm really pleased to be one.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, this has helped me. I'm shy and I wasn't very confident with my artwork until I started getting support from all you wonderful women, and to able to show my stuff publicly is a big step for me. To be able to talk on Facebook Live is a big step for me, being shy by nature. But yeah, so I thank all of you for that. So thank you. And
Thank you
gosh,
too.
yeah, so there's some great comments. I'm not going to read them all, but if you guys do want to visit our Facebook page, you can see all the comments of all our listeners. And anyways, I think, speaking of technical, I'm losing my headphone stuff here. So
Could I,
let me take
Marcia,
this
could
off.
I put in a plug for
My
something
battery
else?
died on my headphones. So,
Oh,
anyways,
you can't,
so please
can you
check
hear
out
me?
Facebook Live and or our Facebook page, and we'll have this posted. This will also be on YouTube as well.
Great.
So,
Thank you again, Marcia. Thank you, Barbara. It was
Thank
great
you.
to see you.
thank you,
Thank you.
everybody. Yeah, have a
Nice to
great
see
day.
people. Wonderful to see people.